แล้วแม่กวนเป็นยังไงขอโทษแม่เกรงจิตลืมเป็นยังไง
ช่วงนี้พอปฏิโยมเส้นประสาทที่เท้านะคะมันอักเสบ
เหรอ
ค่ะมันเดินไม่ได้มันปวดนิ้วเท้าแล้วก็ฝ่าเท้าโยมก็เลยอยากเรียนถามว่าถ้าใส่รองเท้าเดินเป็นไปได้ไหมเดินจงกรมเขาใส่รองเท้า
ก็ได้อยู่นะปกติไม่มีปัญหาแต่จะเห็นอยู่สติไม่ดีเหมือนกันนะเพราะว่ามันจะยินเสียงจากของเขาแล้วของเขาก็มันความรู้สึกก็ไม่เหมือนกันนะแต่ถามลูกสาวจะมาพรุ่งนี้เหรอถามลูกสาวเป็นอะไร
เขาบอกว่าเป็นประสาทเท้าอักเสบเนื่องจากว่าตอนที่หน้าฝนนะคะโยมเดินบนพื้นกระเบื้องที่มันแข็ง
แล้วมันหนาวด้วย
ค่ะคือโยมเดินวันละ6 ชั่วโมง
โอเคเป็นไปได้โอเคสาธุ
ทีนี้อยากกราบเรียนถามหลวงพ่อในเรื่องของการนั่งสมาธิโยมก็เลยพยายามเปลี่ยนจากการเดินเนี่ยมันนั่งมากขึ้นทีนี้เนื่องจากว่าก่อนหน้านี้โยมฝึกสมาธิ2 อย่างก็คือบริกรรมพุทโธกับลมหายใจพุทโธทีนี้ช่วงหลังโยมพยายามตัดเหลืออยู่อย่างเดียวแต่พอตัดเหลืออยู่อย่างเดียวเนี่ยพอบริกรรมพุทโธไปต่อไปมันจะไปตามลมหายใจมันก็เลยกลายเป็น2 อย่างผสมกัน
ทีนี้เป็น2 อย่างแล้ว
ในขณะเดียวกัน
พุทกับลมหายใจเข้าโธกับลมหายใจออกโอเค
หมายความว่าตอนแรกโยมบริกรรมแบบไม่เอาลมหายใจแล้วพอต่อมามันกลายเป็นแบบเป็นลมหายใจ
ได้อยู่ได้เรื่องนี้ไม่มีปัญหาแต่เวลาใช้มันนิ่งมันไม่ชอบเป็น2 อย่างมันจะเอาอันเดียวที่เหลือนะเดี๋ยวจะพุทโธตัวหายไปลมหายใจก็หายไปอยู่กับพุทโธเวลาพุทโธก็หายไปก็เอาลมหายใจนะต้องทำให้ใจมันนิ่งทำไมยังอยากออกนะไปนี่ทำไมมันไปที่ครั้งที่หนแล้วนะแล้วมันจะมีอะไรใหม่นะไม่ได้อันเก่านะของเราไม่ชอบอาหารเก่าๆนะทำไมชอบความคิดเก่าๆนะบางที่ก็ถามตัวเองนะมันคิดอยู่มัน1,000 ครั้งแล้วนะมันจะมีประโยชน์อะไรบางที่ก็ถามตัวเองนะให้สติเดินใจนะ
โยมก็เลยเรียกมันว่าผีหลอกก็คือมันตายไปแล้วแต่ว่ามันถูกปลุกมาหลอกโยมอยู่เรื่อยเลยเวลาโยมเห็นมันโยมก็เลยบอกว่าผีหลอกปลุกผีมาหลอกโ
อเคก็แค่นี้ก็ได้วิธีไหนที่ช่วยได้ก็ใช้ได้นะ
ตอนนี้เริ่มอ่อนลงหมายความว่าการความคิดฟุ้งซ่านมันเริ่มตัวมันเล็กลงนะคะมันเป็นเรื่องเล็กน้อยลง
โอเค
ตอนนี้เป็นแบบเรื่องกับกระตุ้นความรู้สึกแรงตอนนี้
มันจะกินเวลานะมันจะใจเวลาเพราะใจมันสงบนะยิ่งพยายามยิ่งเร็วนะแต่ช่วงแรกมันยากมากนะทุกคนนะที่เริ่มฝึกภาวนาโอ้มันไม่เกิดอะไรขึ้นนะแต่หลังจาก1 เดือน 2 เดือน 3 เดือนก็จะเห็นมีประโยชน์
ทีนี้เมื่อวานโยมไม่ได้เดินโยมก็เลยลองนั่งสมาธิว่าอยากจะเห็นโยมนั่ง4 ชั่วโมงมันยังไม่เวทนาไม่เยอะเลยแสดงว่าต้องเยอะจริงๆนะโยม
ไม่บางที่ก็เกี่ยวกับมันเนื้อจิตมันอยู่ไกลสมาธินะมันทุกขเวทนาเกิดขึ้นนะเนื้อจิตยังออกอยู่เลยนะมันทุกขเวทนายังไม่ขึ้นโอเค so One of the important aspects of Buddhism is Kamma. What is the usual translation of Kamma? It is cause and effect. That doesn't seem to touch us very much. You can also translate it, whatever you sow is that what you reap. Yeah? So if you sow, for instance, rice, you will only be able to eat rice. Yeah? If you sow potatoes, you will only be able to eat potato. Yeah? If you sow love, you will reap love. If you sow anger, you will reap anger. Yeah? But we do have in the Western languages, we have don't do unto others what you don't want others to do unto you. That is Kamma. But most of the time we forget the second part of the sentence. For whatever happens to us, is that what we have done unto others. And that is the tough part. It is easy to remember, don't do unto others what you don't want others to do unto you. Yeah? But it's very difficult for us to accept that whatever happens to us is what we have done unto others. And that's why it is one of the fundamental principles of Buddhism. We really have to understand it. We really have to get it into our brains and into our heart, that nearly whatever happens to us is the result of our own doing. Yeah? No matter if it's this person, that person, if it's the government, if it is the situation. No, it is us who created the situation. Yeah? And this is something where it's very difficult for people to accept this. Yeah? I mean, in the world, people in the world will not be able to accept it. I mean, especially if they are Christians, they accept everything, what is good, and whatever is bad, they run into the church and say, pray God, take this away from me, yeah? Take this misery away from me. Yeah? So they accept the good things, but they don't accept the bad things. Yeah? So whatever we do good, good will come back to us. Whatever we do bad, the bad will come back to us. And then we have to face it. Yeah? And because we are practitioners, we are able to face it, yeah? If our heart, is being able to accept it. Yeah? And we can make it to accept it. Yeah? Okay. Yeah? So we see every situation that comes to us as the result of our own doing. What the people do to us, yeah? If somebody gets angry at us, yeah? We have been angry towards other people. If somebody is kind to us, that means we have been kind to other people. It is never the same person, yeah? Or it is hardly the same person that gives us back what we have done. Yeah? So I mean, if I have a good friend, and I do very bad things, yeah, to him, then somebody else comes and does the same bad things that I've done to my friend. And he might be probably in the next life also a good friend, but it's not the same person. Kamma is it is just a law, yeah? And it comes back to us just like a boomerang that we send out, to kill somebody, it comes back and kills us. Yeah? People in the world, will be not able to accept this, fully. Yeah? They will say, it is unfair, I'm treated unfair, I'm treated badly, and they will complain. Complain about the family who treats them badly, complain about the government, complain about, even the, the person who employs him, yeah, and so on, or their colleagues, yeah. No, it's not these people who treat us unfairly. It is the result of our karma. So it seems in our life, because karma doesn't come back instantly. This is something that you also have to remember. Yeah? I mean, every farmer does know it. Yeah? If he puts in rice, if he sows rice today, he has to wait 6 months before he can eat it, before he can harvest it. Yeah? If he plants an apple tree, he has to wait 7 years, yeah, to be able to get the fruits from this tree. Yeah? And so is it with karma. When we do something today, it will not come back tomorrow. Yeah? It will come back most of the time in one of our next lives. So in our next lives, we don't remember that we did it. And that's why it seems so unfair. The whole world is so unfair to us. No, we have been in previous lives very unfair to people. Yeah? And this is something that we have to remind ourselves constantly. Yeah? So, when something bad is coming back to us, I mean, it's good. Nobody of us has any problems. Yeah. Yeah? If somebody gives us something, we don't have any problems. We don't get angry. Yeah. But if something bad comes up, we instantly accuse that person who does something bad to us, yeah, of being a bad person. Yeah. Maybe he's a bad person, but it doesn't matter. It is our karma that comes back to us. So, as practitioner, we realize the moment, yeah, somebody says some harsh words, or somebody accuses us of this or that, yeah, this is what I have done in the past. And then, yeah, we try to smile and say, okay, well, come back, I'm not going to react. Yeah? That is the way how to decrease that kind of karma, yeah? Until we can see the root within ourselves, yeah, that leads to this kind of karma. Yeah? I mean, if you have enough sati, we instantly can see what kind of action in the past or in the previous life we have done to receive this. Yeah? Because there's nothing, there's nothing unjust. Yeah? Kamma seems to be really, or the situation people are in. Yeah? I mean, be it in Ethiopia, where people starve to death, or now in Yemen, where people starve to death, they die, they are bombed, they are killed, and so on. It seems to be so unfair. But the Kamma is completely just. You only get what you deserve. You only get what you have done. Yeah? And that is also should remind us there's nothing free in this world. We don't get anything for free. Whatever we want, yeah, we have to work for. So, I mean, for instance, people like to be rich, yeah? What leads us, what kind of karma leads us to become rich? Generosity. That means, first of all, before you want to become rich, you have to give. Yeah? So you have to do the same thing, and then you can get it back. Yeah? It's just like, nowadays, everybody uses banks, yeah? If you don't put money in the bank, you don't get money back. Huh? Is that clear? They won't give you money, but if you put it in the bank, they will give it back, yeah? And they will give it back with interest, yeah? And karma also has interest, yeah? The interest is much bigger, than the interest of the banks, yeah? Sometimes we get it 10-fold back, sometimes we get it 100-fold back, yeah? Sometimes we get it, uncountable back, yeah? It depends on, who we do the karma with, yeah? So that is something that really, yeah, and I want to stress it, that really every one of the practitioners to remember, you only get back what you have done. Yeah? Whatever you work for, whatever you want, whatever you want in the future to happen, you have to give it first. Yeah? So if you want to be respected, for instance, if you want to be respected in your life, yeah, that means you have to respect others. Otherwise, you won't get respect back. So you first have to give before you can get it back. Yeah? So if you want to be loved, you have to love people. Yeah. Please, make sure that you understand that, and make sure that you remind yourself very often of this. Yeah? It is only the things that we have done that we get back. And it has nothing to do, nothing whatsoever with this person who gives us the present. Yeah? For instance, a friend sends us a parcel. Yeah? I mean, the post office, yeah, or the officer of the post office, brings us that parcel. He has nothing to do with the contents of the parcel. He's just the bringer. Yeah? So that person, who hurts us, the person who inflicts pain on us, is only the bringer of the Kamma. He has nothing to do. Yeah? And that is something that is difficult to understand, because we instantly react. If we think, somebody is bad towards us, we get angry. Yeah? If we think, somebody is jealous of us, we get angry. Yeah? No, I mean, this person, who displays this bad karma that comes back to us, or the good karma that comes back to us, yeah, is just the bringer of the karma. Yeah, he has nothing to do with the karma, because it is our own doing that comes back to us. Yeah. So we give the parcel, we give the parcel to the post office to send it back to us in a future time. Yeah. And then it comes back to us, and then we accuse the person who brings this parcel to us, yeah, that is a bomb, or whatever it is, it's poison or whatever. Yeah? You understand that? I mean, please, it is very important, and it makes our life so easy. Yeah? It can make our life so easy. Yeah? So you see something coming, you say, welcome. Come back, let me. I just, somebody gives me a present, I say, okay, thank you. And then I put it back, I'll throw it in the trash, yeah? That's the only way how we can deal with the karma that comes back to us, if you don't like it, yeah? Accept it full-heartedly and then throw it away, yeah? It's past, yeah? And this is something that is really, I really want to make it clear, if we are practitioners, yeah, people in the world will never be able to understand that. People who don't practice, who don't have Dhamma in their heart, will not understand that, yeah, and you can't tell them, yeah. I only tell people, who listen to the Dhamma, yeah? Who are interested in the Dhamma, yeah? Because they, through our practice, through our effort, yeah, in practice, and through our effort in developing wisdom, we will understand. It only comes back. Yeah? Whatever we have done unto others. And the clearer our heart is, the clearer we see where it is coming from. And most of it is not coming from this life. Yeah? Sometimes people think, 2 or 3 years ago they were bad with a person, and then 3 years later it comes back. No. Yeah? It is from previous lives. Yeah? It seems to be following up, following on the footstep. Yeah? It's not. Yeah? Most of it is not. Yeah? Of course, there is some karma that can come back to us in this life, yeah? But it still takes, 50, 60 years to come back. Yeah? Maybe sometimes, it takes only 40 years. Yeah? So, just, have a nice welcome screen. Okay, welcome here. Here you come. And then grin your teeth if it's too difficult. Yeah? Sometimes it's really difficult, but please try to accept it. Yeah? Accept the hurt, that you feel. Yeah? But don't blame anybody else. Just blame yourself. Yeah? And then try to find out. Yeah? If our investigation, if our sati is good enough, yeah? Then when we see it, when we can accept it, when we can fully accept that, whatever comes to us, then we look in our heart, yeah? And if our mind is completely still, it knows, actually, about the tendencies in our character that creates this kind of kamma. And this tendency is still there. And then we can remove it. And once we remove it, still old kamma comes back, but it doesn't really affect us very much. So wisdom, the wisdom that we need to investigate the kamma that comes back to us, needs this sati, needs this objective. It's really objective observance. Okay, that's it. How does it feel? Just like we investigate feelings. I talk very often about investigating feelings. And the first feeling that we investigate when we do meditation practice is investigating the feeling of pain that arises through our practice, mostly in our back or in the knees or whatever in the body. Also there, we first need to accept that feeling full-heartedly. The moment we try to get rid of it, it just becomes stronger. If we accept it, it is acceptable, and then we stay, and then we look where it is coming from. That's how we investigate pain. What is pain? The first question is, once we can accept it, what is pain? How does it feel like? Just like with any kind of feeling that seems to overwhelm us, we accept it, and then we are, we have a label for it, and then we ask, what is this? What is anger? How does it feel? How does anger feel like? And the more we investigate these feelings that come over us, or how does it feel like it's greed? How does greed feel like? How does pain feel like? How does anger feel like? How does jealousy feel like? How does anything feel like? And the longer we do this kind of investigation of feelings, the more we see they're all similar. Bad feelings are always unpleasant, good feelings are always pleasant. And there's hardly any distinction between. But for it to be able to investigate feelings, we have to take the fire out. If you have a fire, you have wood, that brings up the fire, So, for investigating feelings, we have to take out the thoughts and the memories that causes these feelings to come up. Sometimes feelings come on their own, but then, these feelings trigger memories of similar feelings, and then these build up, and become emotions. Just like I, talked about, quite a few times. How do emotions develop? Emotion is not one of the khandhas, it's not one of the groups. Feeling is one of the groups, of the 5 groups. Body is one of the group, feeling is in a group. Feeling has two separate groups. One belongs to the body and one belongs to the mind. Then there's memory and association. And then there's thought, and ideas, short form of thought. And then there is consciousness. These are the 5 groups, and these groups we cannot change. Whatever is mixed, it's just like you want to bake a cake. You have salt, you have flour, you have eggs, you have milk, But flour is flour, salt is salt, Eggs are eggs, and milk is milk. But the moment you mix them together, you get a dough, Or you have some yeast as well, and it makes a cake. It has nothing to do. It seems to have nothing to do with the ingredients. When we look at a cake, we don't see, We don't see the flour, we don't see the eggs, we don't see the salt, We just see the cake, Of course, there must be sugar in there, so 7 things, There must be sugar in there. And then, we think, that is nice, But actually, whatever caused it, was eggs, salt, sugar, flour, yeast, and so on, And then we just mix them together, And mix them in different quantities, and then different cakes come out, Or other food comes out, Or sauce, for our meat, We also need flour, and maybe some oil, And that is the same thing, I mean, we have just 5 basic ingredients. And the way that we mix them, it seems to be something different. Yeah? I mean, for us, an emotion of anger seems to be very different, from an emotion of greed. When we really desire something so much, I mean, it burns our heart, yeah? But the moment we go back to the feeling, there's just a feeling of burning. Just like the feeling of burning of anger. Yeah? And what mixes it in, and makes it anger or makes it greed, makes it for us distinguishable, or sometimes fear. Yeah, what is fear? Yeah? What is pain? Yeah? They all come from feeling, most of it, from feeling, from memory and thought. They're just a mixture. Yeah? And they seem different. They seem so different. Just like I tried to explain with the cake. Yeah? There are 5 basic ingredients, to make a cake. Yeah? And no matter how much we mix it, this time we take less flour and then more eggs, it becomes different. Yeah? And now we take, for feelings or emotion, we take a little bit less, less memory and more thoughts, it becomes a different emotion. Yeah? And that is something really, and I really wish that you really listen with your heart. It's something that really we have to understand. That these things are just, illusions. Yeah? These emotions are built up, from, just like a cake rises, from the different ingredients it has. Yeah? Or, everybody remembers his youth, we probably had these soap bubbles, yeah? We had the soap, and we blow it up, and a nice big soap bubble was, yeah? And it was so colorful, and we were running after it, yeah? And the moment we touched it went off. Yeah? And then we ran after another, it touched, and it blew up, yeah? And these soap bubbles, what is there? There's water and there's soap in it, and then we put some air in it and it becomes beautiful bubble. Yeah? And we love these bubbles. Just like we love these emotions, we love these feelings, we live in these feelings. But, they're just illusions, just like this soap bubble. It's just soap water. Yeah? And that is something that we have to understand. And that once we understand it, we can trace it back. Yeah? The moment we see something coming up, if our sati is good enough, and we see something coming up, yeah? We see a thought coming up, and to a thought, there's always a certain kind of feeling attached to this thought. And there's a certain kind of feeling attached to a memory. Yeah? We don't have memories where there is no feeling attached. Yeah? There's a feeling of excitement attached, there's a feeling of anger attached, when we remember a situation where some people, beat us up, or hurt us deeply, then this feeling is attached to this memory, yeah? And then a thought comes about a similar situation, and that thought also has this feeling, So it builds up and builds up and builds up, yeah? Just like an avalanche, yeah? And we have to look, everybody knows an avalanche because we come from the West. We have snow, yeah? Well, not in Israel. But you do have, in the Golan Heights, you do have some snow. But you probably have seen avalanche. An avalanche starts with a stone, yeah? The moment the stone rolls down, with each turn it takes snow on, yeah? And the longer we let it run, the more snow it comes, yeah? And if you let it run full course, it is so big that it, overthrows us. Yeah? It really, we can't take it. And that's the same thing with an emotion. If we know that, yeah, the moment we see it's rolling, stop it. And then we roll it back until we find that stone that caused it. It sounds easy, it's difficult. Because, while we do this investigation, these feelings are still there. That's why we need, when we do this kind of investigation, we need to have a clear mind. A mind that is not occupied with thoughts and memories. Yeah? That is the firewood. Yeah? If there's no firewood, there's no fire. All what you see is very clearly, very objective. Oh, okay, that was this, yeah. So what was the problem? And we always come to this conclusion whenever we investigate, what was the problem? There's no big deal. It was just a stone that caused all this avalanche. But the only thing that we see is this avalanche. Huh? Just like when we see the cake, we don't see the flour and the eggs, and the salt and the yeast and the sugar. Huh? We don't see it. Huh? We see this, the product, the final product. But that final product is a mixture of the basic ingredients. Just like an emotion is a mixture of the basic ingredients. And the basic ingredients, as I described, are the 5 khandhas, are the 5 groups. Just like body, feeling, memory and association, thoughts and consciousness. And out of these 5 groups, this whole world is created. If you can't believe it, look at a computer. What can you do with a computer? And what is the basic ingredients of a computer? You should know it, it's 0 and 1. True or not true? That's the basic ingredients of a computer. But we can play music, we can do work, we can do art, we can watch movies, or we can use it as a typewriter. Just with 2 basic ingredients. It's very complicated, It's a very complicated net, And now what you think, what you can do with the 5 ingredients, the 5 khandhas, or the 5 groups. This whole universe is made out of these 5 groups. And there's nothing outside of this universe. And this is something that we really have to understand, or something that we have to remind us again and again until it becomes part of us. Whatever we see is not what we think it is. So let's cut it down. Whatever we see is not what we think it is. And you know this because, 2 of you know a person. And each person sees that other person differently. How can it? If we would see the truth. No. What we see is, a projection of our own desires, or of our own anger. That's what we see in this person. Our own characteristic traits. That's what we see in this person. We don't see really this person as it is. Whatever we see in this world, is a projection of our own chitta. Our chitta is nothing else than a slide projector. Maybe you know it, if you ever project a slide on the wall, you don't see the wall. Or if there's a person standing at the wall, and you project something onto this person, what do you see of this person? Do you really recognize him, all the features he has? No. All what you see is the picture that you projected onto him. And that is something that you really have to remember. Once the slide is completely clean, then of course you see that person very clearly. But if there is, still anger and greed in the slide, and it's full of colors, you can't really see that person. And because each person has a different slide, so that's why each person sees another person differently. This is something, today I only, I try, to remind you of things that are very important if you really intend on practicing, to remind ourselves about Kamma, about this, about how emotions, are created, about the illusion that we live in. We cannot see things as they are. And our practice will lead us, the more we clean our heart, the whiter the heart becomes, or the more shiny the heart becomes, the clearer we see things. And when we see things very clearly, they don't affect us. If something affects us, yeah, I mean, at least that was my own motto, if something, affects me, then there's something wrong with my meditation. Very easy, and then I was looking, what is wrong with my meditation? I wasn't looking at what affected me. I was looking at, what did I not see clearly? Interesting way, huh? It's difficult, yeah. I mean, sometimes I was sitting there and crying for hours, because I felt so hurt, yeah. And then after that, I asked myself, well, what was wrong? What happened? Yeah? What actually happened? Yeah? And then looked into it, and there was nothing, just a memory, just a feeling or a desire, things creeping up, yeah, and taking hold of me. So remind yourself, often of it. Yeah? Whatever happens to you is the result of your own doing. Yeah? This is one of the fundamental principles. Yeah? And whatever you do in this life, I mean, most of it you will get back in your next lives. Yeah. So if you start to develop to be good, I mean, this good might not come, this life, it will come next life. Yeah. Don't think, I mean, that the rice, just because you watch it every day, it will grow faster. Huh? It still takes its time. Yeah. We always, we practice today and think, something must have changed. No. It will take time, to change. But what we can change through practice is our acceptance of things that happen to us. We can accept it over the time. We can accept it much more easily. We see, okay, something is coming, okay. Accept it, and then if we have a clear mind, then look for it. What is the stone, yeah? Or what is my character trait that produced this kind of Kamma? And is it still in me? And you will be surprised. You will be really surprised that it's still in you and it still waits to come out. Yeah? And that is the way how we find them. Yeah? How we find it and then can uproot it. Yeah? We can see, I mean, we get the response back from our own, from our own intention, from our own behavior. We get the response back. Then we look, okay, what brought this response, and then we see it within ourselves, and we see it still. It might be sleeping, yeah, but it's still there, yeah, and it just waits for a moment to come up, yeah. And most of the time, when it comes up, is the moment where we don't have sati. And then we do the same Kamma, that we've just felt so hurt about. Yeah?
And when we see it, how to remove?
When we see it, I mean, when you see it clearly, there's always a way, how to remove it. Yeah. I mean, just there is, when you see it clearly. I mean, you remember when I say about, what about the fire, when we touch a hot plate, yeah? The moment you know that you touch a hot plate, you will never touch it again. But if you look somewhere else, and touch a hot plate, you will not know, yeah? And that, what we're doing there is, when we look at something, we see it clearly, we see, how we touch that hot plate. And you will do that once or twice and not the third time. Yeah? But if you have no sati, if you don't see it, you will do it over and over again. Yeah? Okay? Wisdom is something, that comes through experience. Wisdom is nothing that we can learn. How much memory? I mean, you can control certain character traits, yeah? We can control them, but they're still lingering within us. And it just needs a moment, a very unpleasant situation and a moment of no sati, and it comes out. So it is sleeping within us. Yeah? And then when it is coming back to us, we use it as a reflection, yeah? Pointing back to us, and looking, where is this character trait? And it is very difficult, and you will notice when you do it, yeah, it is very difficult to accept it. No, I'm not like this, yeah? And then you have said, yes, you are. No, I'm not like this. Yes, you are. until the heart, until the heart can accept that is this, that this character trait is still in there. That produces this Kamma. Yeah? Because if Kamma comes back, yeah, and you have removed that character trait, you can accept it instantly. Okay. Fine. There's no emotion, there's nothing coming up. Yeah? There's no emotion coming up. Yeah? There might be feelings coming up because every Kamma, produces some feeling. But you see these feelings, yeah? But there's no emotion, there's no reaction coming up. Because you removed that stain. Yeah? This is something you have to understand. Yeah? I mean, as long as there is some reaction coming up, of resisting, yeah? Or of throwing it back, yeah? I mean, you haven't removed that. Yeah? Very clear. So that's why I always ask myself, what is happening? Yeah? What the hell is happening? Yeah? Where is it? Yeah? Where is it in my heart? And when I looked at it, and when I could see it, yeah, and as I said, it takes time. The Kleshas are not willing to show us our bad sides. They are not willing. Yeah? So you have to really, yeah, I must have been like this. Otherwise it wouldn't have come back. No, I'm not like this. Yes, you are like this. No, I'm not like this. Yes, you are like this. And this fight can go on for weeks. Yeah? Until, the final say yes. Yeah? And then you can start to remove it. Understood, Marcus? Okay, so that is enough. Just a very.
And this question, I suppose we still have to do reasonable things to avoid bad things. For example, if we know that rocket coming here, we're not accepting just this. We just move forward.
Of course. I mean, you're not stupid. The Lord Buddha never said you're stupid. If a bullet comes towards your way and you say, okay, that's my Kamma. Yeah? I mean, you also have the Kamma to move away. Yeah? But if it still hits you, then it's your Kamma. Yeah? Of course, if you see a rocket coming, you jump. Yeah? If you see a person, where the anger comes, you turn around. Yeah?
And the question, if somebody attacks us.
What?
If somebody attacking.
If somebody attacks you, you don't try to defend you. Yeah? Try to go away, try to smooth the situation. Yeah? And then if you run away, then run away. If you can run away, then run away. But, if that situation happens all the time to you, yeah, well, then just accept it. Yeah? There's a very famous story about, what was the right hand? Moggallana, yeah, Moggallana, yeah. Moggallana was the lord of hell. So he had a lot of bad Kamma, yeah. And when he died, he was the right hand of the Lord Buddha, yeah, the one who was as powerful in magic as the Lord Buddha himself. Yeah, when he died, yeah, he saw 7 people with clubs coming up to beat him to death, and then he tried to avoid the situation. Yeah, through his magical power, he avoided it, and then sooner or later, 7 other people came up, wanting to beat him to death, yeah? And then after the 3rd or 4th time, he realized, he can't avoid that situation, yeah? He has to be beaten up, yeah? Or beaten to death, yeah? So he went to the Lord Buddha, said farewell, and then went back to the situation, and then he was beaten to death, yeah? If you can't avoid the situation, after 3 times, you run away 3 times, and you meet the situation again, then just let the people beat you up, yeah? Because it's part of your Kamma. You can't avoid it. But that takes a lot of practice. Yeah? So try to run away. Yeah? It's the same thing, when you have an illness, a very fatal illness. Yeah? Try to go through to one doctor, I mean, he can't help you. Maybe you go to another doctor, he can't help you. If you go to the third doctor who can't help you, I mean, then accept that illness. Yeah? If you find a doctor that can help you, you will find him. That's why we have this calm about Kamma. Yeah? We really have qualm about this Kamma, yeah? Because we find it so unfair. Yeah? But actually, when we accept it, it is only the things that we have done unto others comes back to us. Yeah? So that means, if people attack you, I mean, you were beating up people in your previous lives. Huh? Okay? I mean, when I was young, yeah? I mean, I was about 7 years old. Yeah? Whenever I went home from school, there were 3 guys waiting to beat me up. And they beated me up. Yeah? I mean, I couldn't help myself. Only if my big friend was with me, I mean, they didn't. Yeah? So, it's Kamma that comes back. Yeah? Okay? Understood? Any more questions? Yeah?
It is interesting to see with Buddha, it's always 3 times, and after we have to let go.
Yeah?
We try 3 times, and after...
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah.
You say whatever karma I do to somebody, usually it comes from someone else.
Usually.
But isn't it possible that
It can be...
two people they coming life after life to make...
I mean, it will come, yeah? I mean, if you have, if you have relationships, I mean, that are called spiritual relationships, where you have been with the same partner, for hundreds of lives, then most probably it will come back from this side, yeah? But most of the time, it comes back from somewhere else, Yeah? You never hurted that person, but, sometimes he hurts you, yeah? I mean, you have very good friends, that suddenly, cheat you or hurt you, and you never had the thought of, hurting them. You always thought about, you never lied to them, and they suddenly start to cheat you or lie to you and so on. Yeah, I mean. Okay. Yeah, also what is Joyce asking?
So he would like to put a bit more effort on his practice. He would like to lead an investigation on psychology and emotion that impact his decision on daily life, especially, he's working in the financial part. So he would like to investigate emotion and psychology that impacts his decision. So he doesn't remember all the steps to lead this kind of, he was doing some kind of investigation with us.
Yeah.
He doesn't remember the steps to lead this investigation, so he was asking, can I ask the question why, or more accurately maybe how? And so you would like to apply your advice correctly. He doesn't remember how to lead this investigation.
Yeah, first of all, to accept that feeling. Yeah, I mean, I actually told you in this talk, if you listened. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want to judge it. If it answers it.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, to accept the situation wholeheartedly, without the desire, to get rid of it. Yeah, and then make the mind calm. Not allowing any thoughts, not allowing any memories to come in, and then look at the situation. Yeah? Look at the feeling. Yeah, I mean, the feeling. In the moment you look at the feeling is gone. Yeah, I mean, if you really want to know what is good, I mean, you have to clear yourself of thoughts and memories. Yeah. Yeah? So I mean, if emotions come up, yeah, I mean. What we normally do is the emotions are always, glued to a person or glued to a situation. Yeah. So the first thing is we have to take that situation off, and or that person off, yeah, and just look at the emotion itself and then accept it, yeah, and then it boils down, if you don't have any thoughts and memories attached to it, yeah, and then you clearly see, and as I said, with the characteristic traits, yeah. I mean, the whole talk was about that topic. Yeah. Yeah. So you can translate it to him in French, into French. Yeah.
I remember when So we just remember he had like this failure on his exam, and so he investigated this. He was like bringing different situations until he was probably to see the common roots of this, and maybe to go to bring the situation step by step.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a problem, that occurs very often, and then you can look at it, yeah? I mean, you can bring up that situation, yeah? Look at it, but you have to be able to accept it, yeah? Look at it, yeah? Look one time, without trying to solve the problem. The only faculty that we have to solve problems is our heart. The moment the heart says that it puts its hand into the fire, it automatically retracts the hand. But if it looks the other way, it doesn't see it. So how can it retract the hand? Yeah? So, in order, if it is the same situation, bring up that situation, yeah? Take out the thoughts, accept the feeling, take out the thoughts, take out the memories, and just wait until it is over. Yeah? Because a fire has to, die down instantly when you take out the firewood. Yeah? And the firewood is memory and thoughts. Yeah? So when you take that out, then you will see, what is on the ground. Yeah? You might not be able to realize it the first time, yeah? Because the mind is not clear. You might have to bring up that situation 100 times before you understand it. You cannot force the heart to understand it. What you can do is, to make the heart as clear as possible, without thoughts and without lingering emotions, without desire, wanting to be able to solve that situation. Because wanting to be able to solve that situation is never giving us a clear shot, yeah? It's never giving us a clear view of the situation, yeah? So the desire, to understand what is pain, yeah, in order to get rid of the pain, we will never be able to understand what is pain, or what is anger, or what is this, or what is that, yeah? Because we have the desire through our investigation, and that is how we were brought up. I mean, we only do something, to get rid of something, yeah? We eat something, to get rid of hunger. We sleep, to get rid of tiredness, yeah? We do only things, we are programmed this way, yeah? And we can't do that, in practice we can't do that. We can't have any expectation, yeah? Just like when we want to go into samadhi, what is the way? You dig a hole. And the longer you dig the hole, the deeper the hole is, yeah? So if you stay with the Buddha, the mind gets clear. If you think about, if you have expectation, now I did it for 1 hour, why is there no samadhi? Yeah? You were always looking for the calm or the peacefulness, yeah? And not doing the work. Yeah? So you bring up the situation, you look at it, yeah? Don't try to understand it, yeah? Just ask, yeah, okay. Accept it, yeah? And then clear the mind of thoughts and memories, yeah? And then look at the situation until it dies down. And maybe you see something on the ground. But if the water is still troubled, yeah, the heart will not really recognize it, yeah. So that's why you have to do it often, more often and more often, yeah. And one day, one day you will see it clearly, and then it's gone. Patience.
So not to desire to get rid of
Yeah.
pain, just observe.
The desire to understand what is pain.
Not to understand because I want it to
Yeah,
go away.
that's right.
Another way.
Yeah. We have to have desire, we have to have the desire to get into samadhi, but we know, the way into samadhi is digging the hole. It's just sticking with the Buddha, yeah. So the desire to stick with then we put the desire on, okay, I just want to be with this one Buddha, and then I want to be with the next Buddha, and then the next Buddha. No? Because we know this way is leading us to samadhi. But if we desire samadhi, then we always look out for this calm or peacefulness, happiness, or whatever it is, yeah? And then we will never get samadhi, yeah? And that's the same thing, with dealing with things that come up, we have the desire to get rid of it, yeah? We don't have the desire to understand it. And we should get the desire to understand, what the hell, just like I was asking myself constantly, what the hell is going on? That is the desire to understand what is actually going on. Not, not to make, things, go away or disappear. What is going on in my heart, yeah? Why why am I crying? Then I look at my body, the body is still there, so what is there? Yeah? What is actually happening? Yeah? And then I look at the heart, yeah? So the desire should be, not to solve the problem, the desire should be to understand what is going on. And the understanding can only take place in the heart. And understanding takes only place in the heart when the heart is completely calm, when there are no thoughts and no memories involved. Yeah? That's why we need, that's why we need the practice of samadhi, to get the mind first calm. Once the mind is calm, it's powerful. Yeah? Just think about, when the mind is concentrated, think about, the rays of the sun, are warm. Yeah? Sometimes it's hotter because the sun is closer. Yeah? But if you put a magnifying lens under the sun, that point of focus, it burns everything. It ignites everything. Yeah? So that is the power of the citta. Once it is concentrated in one point, then we direct this point to whatever problem we have, and we can see through it. But if we don't have that concentration, we don't see anything. Yeah? Because we have no power. Yeah? It's just like this, the sun, cannot ignite anything if we don't try to focus it on one point. Yeah? Okay, so enough for today. Yeah. If there's another question, you can ask the next time. Yeah. Comprends? Compris? Je ne comprends pas. My friend. Oh, I used to love French so much. Really, I love it.
So you can train with my parents when they come, because they don't speak English that well.
I have to hear it. I have to live in a community, just like in Thailand. You be in a monastery in Thailand, where they only speak Thai. That's how you learn Thai, and that's how you get back, your memory of French. Yeah? Of course, if I watch TV, in French, I get a lot of that. Yeah? It comes back very quickly. Auf der Tafel steht an.